I'll open the floodgates.
Oh, way to go to use my last name as a pun for the promotion. Oh, God. Ooh, hey everyone. Guess we'll give maybe about 5 more minutes to see if there's anybody else joining in. Well, if you guys have any After Effects question to ask, you can do so before, while we're waiting for people. Mm-mm.
Have you tried the tutorial with the serif font, or does it only look good with a sans serif?
Good question. Maybe I'll try that. I mostly try with because it looks better if there's like less type, right? Like 4 or 5 character, and sans serif seems to work better. But hey, I can try serif later. Oh, quite a turnout. Hey, Kagan! Oh my god, I haven't seen you in a while.
Playing low.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in the meetings. Where have you been?
I haven't gone to any meetings.
But yeah, let's wait 3 more minutes before we begin. Oh, someone's watching from the iPhone. Oh, it's quite a turnout. Okay. 1 more minute. Okay, I guess that's it. I guess we can get started.
Someone that is trying to join in.
Oh,
I'll let you know if we figure it out.
there's still people joining. Still trying to join. Oh, there you go.
I think Alex is figuring it out.
What am I doing?
Were you in the Discord assistant with the person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they figure it out?
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, awesome.
Okay. Oh, there's still more people. Okay. Should I start now?
Yeah, you snooze, you lose. Anybody who
Okay.
didn't make it in.
Yeah. Okay. Hey everyone. Oh, there's still more. Hey everyone, my name is Desmond AKA. Thank you for coming to this workshop. Very excited to teach you guys what I know. So yeah, just a quick introduction for those who didn't go to the meeting and skip my introduction. Like I say, I'm Desmond AKA. I'm an MFA student, MFA in motion media design, and I was a peer tutor when I was doing my BFA in the same major, motion media design, right? And then I work at Warner Media in Atlanta for about 14 months, and I'm back here in grad school. So that's the quick history. So today we're gonna cover like keyframe, keyframe animation, and animating typography. We're kind of treating like type more of like shape layers rather than like text animator, compared to what we did in the demo in the workshop. So let me share my screen. So previously we did a demo in using text animator to create this animation, right? To create this kind of staggering animation. And for those who want to refer to how this was done, want to know how this was done, you can refer to the previous Moment Love meeting recording. So this was built using text animator, but today, like I said, it's more about keyframings. And I forgot to cover previously that the usage of text animator, right, or the benefits of it, because like I think it's something that is overlooked in like our curriculum, right? And it actually is a very good skill. So I'm gonna just show you guys like some examples of what you can do with text animator. So there's this project that when I was at Warner Media Studio working for Turner Classic Movie, we have to work a lot with typography. So I would do like motion sketches like this. And all this was just done using like text animator, right? I would just build one and I would just have a base, and then I would just like iterate different processes. And then I'll play the video after, just showing you guys this GIFs. So just want to show you the whole potential of type. I'm gonna play this video.
Come on, girls! Let's show them how we do it!
Hello, gorgeous.
Snap out of it!
This is terrific stuff.
So that's one implementation of like text animation, right, in the real world. And then, even for the commotion, the typography that's being animated on was also done using text animator. I would just like create one setup. Oh, so why is it so blurry? Come on, Vimeo, work with me. I'll just go to Vimeo. What? Okay, fail. But I want to say is that the text animation. Okay, there you go. Now it's clear. Okay. The text animation for commotion was done, using just one text animator, right? And I'm able to randomize the look, or like how each letter appear, just based on one text animator. So, for this here commotion, I'm sure we'll do the same thing. So, many applications, and for those who want to work in broadcast or advertising, I highly recommend you to have feature like typography animation in your portfolio, because I think when I was working at Warner Media, my art director told me that I got hired because I had like type animation in my reel. So that was like kind of like surprising to me. Anyway, so that's just the fun tidbit from to kind of close whatever I was talking about for text animator. Anyway, today we're going to look into Matt Foy's like type GIF animation, typography, his like animated type GIFs. So this is the sample of his work, right? Hazy, and this is what we're gonna recreate. Okay, so I'm gonna play it once. Okay, and I'm going to, and before we begin on actually making this thing, let's take a look at like what we're gonna actually do. So there are many components. Actually, there's a couple of components to what we're looking at. First of all, the background, right? Let's focus on the background. You can see it's going in towards the right side, right? And then after that, it's going backwards to its original position. Okay, so I'm going to play it. Just focus on the background, right? So heading to the right, going to the left. Okay, so the background is generally very simple to animate. And I will show you an easier way to kind of animate it. And subsequently, now let's look at the type, which is the key element, right, of the animation. So I don't know why is it so slow. Okay, as you can see, if we just look at, let me isolate just the text itself, right? So I'm going to scrub frame by frame and just notice the first element that's being animated is the H. First, it will go down. It does this overshoot, right? It will prepare to jump up, and then you'll go and your hang time for like, few frames before coming down. And, there is some like overshoot, and then it's settling before settling into its original position. Now, so yeah, just take a look at the H. I'm going to go back. I'm going to scrub through frame by frame. right? And then it's coming down and then back to its original position. Okay, so if we look at the rest of the character now, let's look at A, right? You can see it's also doing the same thing. Okay, let's just isolate A right now. I'm going to scrub through frame by frame. So the H jump first, and followed by the A. So it's jumping up, and it's coming down. So it's the same animation going on, right? So what in this workshop we're gonna animate just one character, and we are able to copy all the parameters to the letters, and then we'll do the same thing, right? For the once we have one set of this word hazy, and we're able to kind of offset it, right? The offset the the playback, right? And also do this echo effect. So it's much better if I show you guys how we're going to do it. So we can start the demo now. So over here, okay, so also let me turn on my Pro mouse so you guys can see. So if you notice on the bottom left, you will see this like shortcuts, right? So yeah, just know that is there for you to know whatever shortcut I am typing or whatever I'm typing actually. So I'll just put it in the bottom left for now. Okay, so we have this hazy character all in text layer over here, right? So if I double click on it, maybe I can change it. Say wave. Let me change it to something else, right? There's just like there's 4 text layers, right? And each with just a different letter. And so to start animating, right? Let's start off with animating the W first. Before that, let me just revert back to my original settings. So what we want to do, because to kind of think ahead, we might reposition our characters, right? Sometimes like you can see this W is already like not fitting correctly. And so what we want to do is that we only want to animate the Y and leave the X like untouched. So we can, select position, right click, and separate dimension. So this is what we're working with, okay? So like I mentioned previously, right, we want to start from a neutral position, go high up, and then land back to its original position. So I'm going to set a keyframe at Y and go down to about a second. I have a marker here. So I'm going to go to about 350 pixel up like that. And then I'll land it about like at about 40 frames, right? So I can just copy the original keyframe and just paste it back in. So if I were to play it now, it's very unexciting, right? So maybe you guys would think to say, all right, let's just grab keyframe assistant, easy ease. But it's still very boring. Like you want that overshoot. So how we want to do this is that we need to go into the animation curves, into the value graph. So we can select our Y position property and click on this button over here, right? And we can see that this is how the values are being mapped onto a curve, right? So I'm going to just create more space right here. Okay, so you can switch between value and speed graph, right? So this will tell you the speed, as it says, and the other one will tell you the value. We want to work with the value. So it's going to basically, you can see that the value is going from 650, right? About 650, and it's going down to 350 and back up to its original position. What we can do actually is to just grab this over here. Okay, oops. Grab this, right? Grab this hand over here, and we're going to actually pull it up, like that. So it actually goes beyond its original value. So if I were to play it now, notice there's a small bounce, right? It's going below its original position and going back up. So we're going to do the same thing over here, right? When it lands, we want it to have that, little overshoot, right? So you can go crank it up really high if you want to, but there's no need to do that, right? So something like that is fine. Let's play. So so this might take some time, but you just want to, you just need to play around with the curve to get the type of motion that you want. But that's the concept, right, of trying to overshoot. You don't necessarily need to set a keyframe at over here, right, at where it's supposed to overshoot. All you have to do is to manipulate the value graph instead. So if I want to overshoot more, right, I would just make the curve a little bit more steep, like that. Okay. So let's just say, let's make it a little bit faster. So maybe something try to make this as sharp as possible, right? Or I can always just lower I just push the keyframes closer together, right? So maybe something like, and just push these 2 keyframes.
And to clarify, you could do this with basically anything, right? Like if you had it on scale, say, and you wanted it to like, you know, overshoot the growth. Cool.
Yes, exactly. So this seems to be fine for now. Maybe let me just push this a little bit backwards and lower this. Okay. All right. We can spend all day doing this, but we're not going to do that. All right. So that's nice. Now we are going to, now that we got, let's just say this, we're fine with this, right? We're going to do it for the other characters as well. Now, before that, we also want to do it for rotation. So let's press hold shift and then press R so we can, you know, show, still retain whatever is being shown. Oh, one cool trick is that if you hold, I think Option Shift, you can actually remove like properties, right? Say I don't want to rotate, I don't want white position now. If I hold Option Shift, I'm on the Mac, I can just get rid of the property. And so just a cool trick. So I'm gonna get rid of the X. So I keep the rotation, same thing, right? I'm going to set a neutral position of 0, and I'm going to go maybe negative 20, and I'm going to press K to jump to the next keyframe on the timeline. See, using J and K allows me to jump between keyframes like that. It's really handy, precise. And we're going to set it back to 0. Okay, so now, right, we need to repeat the whole process. So we're going to right click and just click on this button called Easy Ease. And you can do the same thing, but what if you want to get a precise curve, you know, the precise curves that you made, because you already spent so much time, you know, maybe fine-tuning the animation curve for the position. You also want this exact same animation curve for your rotation. Well, for this case, right, we can rely on a free script UI called Ease Copy. So to show you what it does, I'm going to show you what it does and then show you where you can get it, right? So I'm going to go to Window. So by default, it's not here, right? You need to download it, just disclaimer. So Ease Copy is right here, right? So, you know, this is a script UI panel, which means I can dock it wherever I want on my After Effects. So I'm going to select my rotation keyframe and hold down Command and click on the keyframe to reset it back to linear position, to linear interpolation, which means to say it's just straight, right? We get rid of the curve. And now I'm going to select my Y position property, click on Copy in the Ease Copy panel, go back to Rotation, and paste it, and just paste Ease. Oops. I guess I need to select the keyframe. Oh, did I not hit Copy? Okay, maybe I did not. Okay, I'm going to select keyframe, hit Copy, and then I'm going to paste it in. Okay, and now, ta-da, right? I mean, it doesn't look identical because the values are different. I mean, as in, actually, they are identical. There you go. All right. So we instantaneously copy the animation curve into our rotation value. Now, as for how we get this script UI, you want to go into AE script, right? So you can easily Google AE script to get, you know, plugins, extensions, scripts, or whatsoever. I'm going to look for Ease Copy. And then this one over here, even though it says $15, you can name your own price. You can set it to $0. You can add to cart, and you can check out, right? So I already checked out, so I won't show you the whole process. But one funny thing is that, you know, you don't get an instant download button after you make a purchase. You have to go to your profile, go under My Downloads and Licenses, and then you click Download. Then you get the zip file, right? So that's the whole process. And when you want to install this, right, you will want to go into After Effects, go into File, Script, Install Script UI Panel, and then you go into, let's see, Ease Copy, and select this file called easecopy.jsxbin. Now, how we know it's a script UI panel is because it is called, it has this extension called JSX bin. If it was just a JSX, it's just a normal script, which means to say it doesn't come with a UI panel. Well, most of the time. So when you see this means it's JSX bin, you know, just think of it as a UI panel. Once you select this, After Effects will install it, and you need to restart it for it to appear under Window. You scroll down, Ease Copy, right? So that's a whole process of like kind of like finding ways to optimize your workflow. Okay, so moving on. So the process for doing other characters, right? For someone who's new to After Effects, what you might do is that you might just Command C on the position and the rotation, and you just paste it across the other position, right? And then I'm gonna press U to show all the keyframes, and then you stagger it manually like that. You know, I'm gonna just do it for now, and I'll show you a better way. Right, it looks cool. Oh, also a staggered keyframe, so I need to undo that. I can hold down Option and press Home to put all the layers to the start of the timeline. And now I'm just going to grab the keyframes and just push it like 3 frames down. Oops. And select this 3 frames down and do it again 3 frames down. And then it's cool, right? But then, you know, this it's a if you're just doing just one simple word, right? Maybe just 4 character, it's fine. But what if you want to keep exploring different properties, right? You have to change one property, the main position, and copy it again, and then you stagger it again, which is not very efficient. So this is where expression comes into play. So expressions are pieces of JavaScript code that you can use to kind of enhance and somewhat automate your animation process. You don't need to learn coding to kind of use expression. You just need to know a little bit. So I am going to get rid of all these keyframes over here, right? And I'm just going to select the Y position. I can close Ease Copy now. Okay, so to enter an expression into a property, you gotta look for a property with a stopwatch, right? This stopwatch. I'm gonna hold down Option or Alt on Windows and Option click on the stopwatch, right? And then you can see that, you know, my property value become red, so which means there's expression in it, and this is the current expression. It's referencing its own value. So we can actually get rid of this and type in our code. So what we want to do now, we can actually say link this, right? Option click on stopwatch, pick with it to the Y value. So I'm going to just turn the Z and Y out for now, and you follow it, right? Even if this keyframe move, right? Look at it. I'm going to play it. Even if I move the keyframe, the A, right? The A will still move when the letter W move as well. But so that's neat. But then again, I want to offset it by, let's say, 3 frames. So how do we do this? So what we can do is, first of all, we can create a variable, right? We can call this like main, right? We're going to store the value of our main animated element, which is W right here, into Y. And let's specify how many frames to delay. So let's create a variable. So variables are like a container. I hope you guys remember algebra from high school, right? You know, like x squared plus y squared equals z squared. Well, no, not that's all algebra. You just need to know that variables. Variables are containers for value. So I can store value. I create a variable called delay, right? It's a container for the value, say 5. Could be anything. But for now, it's like, it's just a value. It's just a number of 5. And we need to calculate the offset, right? Because we can make use of the layer order. Okay, so here's the thing about after our layers, right? If you notice on the left-hand side, right, we can see that each layer has a number, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So using this value, we can actually, you know, use it to multiply like how much it should offset, right? We can control the sequence just by making use of the layer's index number. So let's just say W will be the first. I'm going to put it on top and followed by A and then Z, right? So I'm going to do it like that. Okay, I'm going to calculate what is the index value? What's the sequence number? So maybe I'll call it sequence index, which it's its own index. So I can type in index. Like I said, index will reference the layer value, but I want to start at 1, right? Because this is the first one will not be offset. And then the second layer will be offset by, say, 5 frame. So the value now is 2. I need to minus 1 to set it to 1, right? So it start counting from layer 2 onwards. Now we can calculate the time offset. Let's call it offset. And we'll type in offset is equals to delay times sequence index, semicolon. Finally, we can tell After Effects that we want to retrieve the value of this transform.y position, which we have stored in the variable called main, and we'll type value at time minus offset. So what this is saying is that it's going to take the current time where the playhead is and minus 5 frames, right? So we are like staggering it using code. So I have to, click away and play this. So one thing I forgot to mention is that, okay, it's not playing, but if you scrub down to about 5 seconds, it happens. So one thing I forgot to address is that even though we're thinking in frames, right? We're thinking in frames. So here's a comment. If you can type a comment in an expression by typing double backslash. Even though we're thinking, right, as human being, we're thinking in 5 frames. After Effects thinks that 5 is 5 seconds. Okay, so we need to convert this value into frames. Into a float value, right? Convert frame value into time value for After Effects to read. To do so, we need to use a function called, frames to time. And then we can type in the 5 in between the parentheses and get rid of the 5 that we typed earlier. Okay, now if I play it, ta-da, very nice. So I can now copy this and copy onto Z and copy onto Y. Okay, and you'll just stagger like that, right? Really cool. And we didn't need to move any keyframes or whatsoever, right? We just have 6 keyframe. That's it. But here's the thing, every time we want to change, it's kind of tedious, right? We have to change this number if you want to explore, say, I want to offset by 2 or maybe 1 frame. So what we can do to speed up the process is to add in an expression control. We can go to an expression control can be accessed by, go to Effect, and then you go down to expression control. Oops. Let's do that again. Expression control, and we're going to drop in slider control. So this slider control does nothing on its own. It's basically your own user control. And I'm going to rename it to frame delay, right? And now I can select this 5 over here. And then I'm going to pick with it to that slider value over here. Okay, I'm going to set it back to 5. And I'm going to copy this onto Z and paste it onto Y as well. Okay, now if I play it, we still have the same value, right? We have the same animation that's going on, but now I can actually change this to offset it by 2 frames. So it'll be faster, right? Maybe I can set it to 1 frame and see what happens. And like I said, if you say, you're modifying the expression, say you want to make it super fast, right? You're modifying how it's the base animation. See, it's still updating as well. So, all we have to do is just be concerned about one layer, and we're transferring other properties. We're transferring the properties, we're offsetting the properties onto the other layers. So we're going to do this for rotation as well. Good thing is that once you got this one, the first one written down, right, you can just copy it and just change it a little bit. So I'm going to option click on the stopwatch, paste this in here, right? And instead of the Y position now, the Y position, okay, we are going to specify the rotation. We can just get rid of this, pick with it to the W rotation, semicolon, and then, that's pretty much it. Now I can copy the rotation value and paste it onto Z and Y. Okay, and then now I can just unhide the just turn off just make it close the layer, collapse the layer so it's cleaner, right? And you can see the rotation property has been also offset across the layer. So if you want to say, I think Mel was saying, I want to do October, right? No, Halloween. So
no, boo.
But
Or spooky. You can do spooky.
okay, all right. Let's not let everyone copy your creative vision. So I'll just do spooky. So, and now I can just do right now I have 4 characters as spook, but I'm just going to command D to duplicate it, right? And then I'm going to duplicate it twice. And then I'm going to move this character. Oops, I duplicated the wrong character. Okay, I can duplicate this, shift it over here. I'm going to change it to K, and I duplicate it over another one. And then change this to to Y. Okay, so it's kind of not fitting very well in here at the moment. What we can do is new, right click, new, now object, select everything, and then just pick with parent it to the now, and just scale it down in case we just want to resize it to our com, right? And to manually kind of align the text is kind of troublesome. What we can do, or if you want it evenly spaced, is to go to the align panel, and you can click on, make sure align layer to selection, and you can click on this button over here. And make sure you unselect the now layer. So this will kind of evenly distribute it, but you still can see that it's not perfect. So we're just going to move this O like that. I'm gonna hit Command Shift H, right? So we can hide the layer control. Okay, so let's center it like that. Now I have to play it now. Okay, you can see what's going on, right? The K and Y is jumping before the O. Like I say, it's based on the layer order. I'm gonna hit Command Shift H. You notice that this letter O is in the layer position of 7. So what we need to do is to grab this layer and make sure it's at its correct place of layer position 4, right? And this should be 5 and 6. Now if I play it now, ta-da, right? So, and make sure you don't have any layer above, right? Previously I had a now above. So this will kind of, because this, our layer index is relative. So we're adding like 1 plus 1 value. So you can see that, notice how like everything jumps a little bit slower, right? The first character, the first letter piece jumps a little bit slower compared to like, the rest of the letter that jumps in like succession because it's based on the layer index number. Okay. So yeah, make sure there's nothing on top, right? Now that we have built our base text layer, I'm gonna save. And now we're gonna create the color echo effect. So what we can do now is to select everything, Command Shift C to pre-comment. I'm gonna call it text base underscore spooky. And then we're gonna go back to our layer over here. And what we can do is to, we're gonna duplicate it, right? And we are going to color it. So I'm gonna use this color palette over here using Ray Dynamic Color. Actually, no, we're doing the voice, the green one, so it's easier. Okay, so I'm going to color it lime green, right? And then this one to be the second green. Command D, do it again. Command D, and Command D, and the last one. Oops. Now I want to reverse the layer order. I'm gonna select the layer, right? The lime green one, which is layer number 5. Hold down Shift and click on the last layer, Command X and Command V, and this will flip the layer order, right? So, instead of manually like staggering this, like what we did in the demo, we can repeat the whole process now using the expression. So I'm gonna undo that, select all the layers, and press Option Home to kind of snap it back to the start of the timeline. Go back into our expression here. We can just press EE. Pressing EE will show properties with expression. We can just copy this. Again, we are returning it once, we can reuse it. I'm going to, though we need to repeat the process of creating the slider control. I'm going to call this frame delay. Okay, and then I'm going to, so right now, we're not, the thing we need to offset, right? It's not position, it's not rotation, it's not scale, it's time, right? We need to change time remap. So we can right click on layer number 2 first, right? We're going to type in time, enable time remapping. Okay, so this will give us a value. So by default, it's just following the frame number, as you can see, right? So we can offset it using code by clicking Option. I'm going to paste the expression over here. Okay, and we can just change the main. So we need to access the value from the main layer. I'm going to rename this to be main. Right click, time, enable time remapping. I'm going to just pick with it to time remap value. And then let's see. So we have a slider control. So we need to also replace this slider value frames to time, and pick with it to the slider control. And because, we're just working with time, we can actually lose this value at time thing right here. And this will be fine. Okay. And now if you can see that right now my frame delay is set to 0. By the set to 5, right? You can see that it has been offset by 5. And I can Command C, and then I can select all the layers, or Command A, select all the layers, deselect the first layer, paste it in. Okay, so that's looking kind of weird. So let's set it to maybe 2, right? The value of 2, like that. And so that would be, so we're basically, using the same technique, but just offsetting time. I guess we probably need to tidy up the animation inside, right, to make it look better. But, I don't want to spend too much time on that. There's something you guys can get to. Now we're going to stylize it as well, add the background. So to stylize it, we're going to add in layer style. We're going to add in a stroke, change it to black. Okay. And then I will Command C on the stroke and paste it onto the other layer as well. So if I play it, okay, very nice. I'm gonna save, and now we can tackle the background. So for the background, right? So what you want to do is to prepare, let's see, it's just this background is just simply shape layers, right? If I'm just gonna grab one of these, it's just a shape layers, 5 columns of shape layer that's just color, okay? And you might think that you might need to duplicate like a bunch of these, and then after that, just animate back and forth. But you don't need to do that. Just having one set of these is enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna undo this, go back to my demo over here, drop the background. I'm going to press Command 5 to get to the effects and preset panel, right? Which you can also access through Windows. And I'll type in offset, okay, and double click on offset. So I'm going to isolate this layer right here. So the thing about offset is that, well, you can offset the position of a layer, but it will also kind of copy onto, it will never like, if you move a layer manually, you get the background, right? But just offsetting it will kind of like reposition it back to the left side of the screen or the right side of the screen, so it's very handy, right? If you want to repeat a pattern. So this could go perpetually. You could scrub perpetually and you'll still like be the same pattern. So I'm going to reset it, go back to my first start with keyframe, set a keyframe down for the offset. I'm going to go down to say maybe, let's see, what's a good time? Maybe 2 seconds, right? 2 seconds. And I'm going to scrub to until the next until it lines up perfectly. Basically we're shifting all the five column width, right? So if I would play this now, it's going to go towards the right side and back to its original position. And we also want it to come back to its original position. So I can copy the first keyframe, paste it in, maybe set it around 4 seconds. And I also want to hold it there for a few frames. I can copy this keyframe, paste it in, right? So there's like about a 3 frame like hold before it goes back. So I'm gonna press N to get to up point, right? So that's kind of looking very boring. So that's like all the keyframe assistant, easy ease. Okay. So that's how you kind of recreate the background that my voice did. Now coming back. And so now we can just set our, so we probably need, if you want to make this a perpetual GIF, right? We need to line up the animation correctly on the inside. So maybe, for example, this should be, let's see, I'm gonna just make it longer as how it's supposed to be, say about 1 second, like that. Come back over here. Okay, that's a little bit too slow. So maybe something like that will be fine. Okay. Maybe I'll just press U on the keyframe. Let's say if I want to make it like loop like that, right? I'll keep everything within 2 seconds. Okay, so it'll be like that. So obviously you might want to slow it down. Like maybe you want to, right now it's staggering. Each of them is staggering by like 2 frames. So there's not a lot of like, we can spread it across a longer duration. So maybe using a value of 5 would be better. So I'm change it 5 right now. Right, and then so this allows us to extend the background. So when it comes down, say some here, right? So we can extend whole option, click on the last keyframe to kind of adjust duration. Okay. And the last thing we need to do to kind of finish this piece is to create an adjustment layer. And then let's put it on top. All right. Actually, no, I'm going to pre-comp everything again. I'm going to pre-comp everything. And then, so I'm going to get over here and put on a posterize time. So this will make it a little bit more stop motion-y. There we go. Ta-da. And so yeah, do you have any question at this point? Let me look at the chat panel. Oh, Kagan dropped the East copy. Very nice.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt when you were showing it, but that one, because there's no like license code or anything, and it's pay what you want, you know.
Yeah,
I feel like it's okay to share.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to just drop and share. So, does anyone have any questions?
So I sorry, if you go back to like your text or anything where you've got the index expression doing a lot of the heavy lifting, you know, typically if you were to put like an adjustment layer or nulls or whatever, or at least I usually put them above all of the like any of the text layers, anything like that. When you have your expression set up like this, you just shouldn't do that, right? Otherwise it's going to screw up the indexing.
Yes, I mean, yes and no. I mean, because whatever we're doing is called relative index referencing, right? The layer number is always changing. Now, there's this technique called absolute index referencing, where we lock the number. No matter how many layers we have on top, it always be the sequence index number will be the same. So if just to say you want to have adjustment layers on top, right, or maybe solid or other shape layers, okay, you want to have like a start layer. So I have this now over here. I can just rename this to call start. It can be anything, right? You just need one solid layer to kind of tell it like where to start. Okay. Now, a letter A. Actually, no, this is not the second letter, right? Is P. So to get the absolute index number, we need to reference our own index value, right? So the value now is 3. Pick with it. Minus. Pick with it to the start layer dot index, right? So 3 minus 1 will give you 2. Couldn't math for a moment there. 3 minus 1 will give you 2, right? So we know that is second in the sequence. Okay, but like I say, I need to minus 1 because I want to offset it. This is the first letter to be offsetted. Okay, so this, and now I can copy this and paste it onto the other characters. And no matter, I'm going to generate a lot of like adjustment layer on top, right? You can see it's not affected at all, except for the R because I didn't change the R, right? So let me go through how that works again. Now with the rotation, it's the same thing. We're referencing, actually, let me just undo that. It's basically, simple arithmetic, right? If right now, the current, even though the layer index of P is 15, but the start layer is 13. 15 minus 13 is 2. Then we minus 1. So we know that to offset it by 1 time, right? So you can see that. So this is an absolute index referencing. We can copy this now and go to rotation and just paste it in over here. And we can copy this, Command C, and paste it onto the other layers. Now, there you go. You can have as much layer as you want on top. It's a little bit complicated, so I didn't want to teach it. A lot of people get confused.
Yeah, it's just, I see what you're saying though. It's just like one extra little calculation. In that same vein, and then I'll shut up, I promise.
No,
Why do you feel like you had to use the start null to set up that layer indexing as opposed to just using the first S?
It's a preference thing.
Okay, cool.
Good question. It's like, for me, I when you're working After Effects a lot, you try to develop your own like color coding system, right? When you see layer is green, that is like, say, null layer for you. This for me, if you every time I create a new null layer, right, it's green. And if I create a new text layer, it will always be cyan. So that's how I recognize layers, right? And if you want it to be S, right, the first character, that's fine too. But my preference is just to use null layer. So up to you.
Okay. I just didn't know if you needed to have like the -1 at all times or something like that.
I think if you don't have, if you're just using S, say, actually we can do it right now, right? We're just using the S. So we can go back to P. So we can just rename this to S, right? We're referencing S. And so 2 - 1, we can get rid of that. Same thing over here. Just copy it over. Grab the Y position, rotation, let's close it. So I copied it and I paste it onto other layers. Same thing. And yeah, but good question, Kagan.
Cool. Thank you for clarifying. I just remember we were talking about it the other day. That was something when we hung up. I was like, holy shit.
Does anyone have any question? Come on, guys. Ask something.
I have a question about your background too, actually. Because I, for some reason, never thought to use the offset to do what you're doing here.
Yeah.
What's the difference, or do you ever use motion tile? Like, because that's what I would have thought to use, but it seems like offset's just a much better, simpler version of that. Like,
so motion tile, I believe, allows you to tile it like multiple into like a grid, right? So you can like repeat it. Offset, on the other hand, is just position, right? It would just move X or Y, right? But the scale is always the same. It's a pretty lightweight effect. When you use a rapid tile, a motion tile, something After Effects slows down.
Okay. Right, and that's finite. You're right.
Yeah.
You set it to go like this far. It's only gonna. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. If there's no question, we'll do a bonus, right? We'll learn one more expression that's pretty handy. So I just Command D on Spooky, right, to create number 2. Let's just say I'm creating, I don't want to hand animate it. I want to do something like this thing called this easy one. So it's just going up and down perpetually. So we don't have to manually animate it, right? We can actually just write a simple expression. So using the sine function. So what we can do is Option click on the stopwatch, and let's just say we want to offset it up and down by 100 pixel. We can type 100 times math.sine times however fast you want it to be. So maybe times 5. So higher number means faster. And you can see it jumps all the way up because I need to add to the original value. So I need plus value, right? So it's just basically adding the value of 100 and -100 onto its original value like that. So if I want it to be higher, maybe I can put in 200, right? And I'm a bit slower. I'll make this time to be 2.2. Okay. And then if we go back, let's just say, you like this you like this animation compared to the hand animated one, we can go back to our demo, which is over here, right? And then we can select all the layers, select this spooky 2, hold down Option, and then just drop it on over here. And see, we just created, we just, create a new iteration just by, changing one, just duplicating a comp, adding expression, and then just replacing it. So this is a very procedural setup that can speed up your animation process, right? If you want to make like multiple words, because I know Matt Voice makes he likes to make the months of a year. So to speed up process, this could be a technique. It's kind of slow, so you could just set it to be, say, 4. Yeah, that seems fun. So a lot of possibility, right, with this technique. And that's pretty much how I did this, right? So the project file will be given to you guys. I guess again, I'll send it to one of the Momilove officer, and then they'll drop it onto the general announcement page along with the YouTube link for today's workshop. Let's see. And using this technique, you can do more than just copy Matt Voice. Well, you can copy other people. So this you can actually do this. So this is a replication based on designed by Jake. That's his Instagram handle. This thing called Box. One of my students, or like one of the person I was teaching, was curious on how to do this. It's the same concept. You animate one thing, and then after that, you just repeat it, right? You just stagger the animation using the index number. And if you're interested in learning more about expression, you can go to my YouTube channel, NoSleepCreative, right? I have a bunch of playlists about expression or how to use expressions for complex animation. So do check it out. And here are my information in case you want to connect with me or ask me a question through email. Connect on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram, look at my work, follow me on my YouTube channel, whatever you want, right? If there's no questions, does anyone have any questions?
Are you going to make a Patreon or something eventually? Like, you should be getting money.
I do have a Patreon.
For this.
I do pause
Okay,
it.
cool.
I paused the payment cycle because I wasn't actively making tutorials. Because I'm doing private lessons. But that ended. I'm just I'm doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I'm gonna stop share. We still have 5 minutes left. Well, if you felt that you learned enough, you can leave. Thank you for coming. If you wanna, stay back and ask me a question, you could do that. I'll be here until 4 p.m.
Thank you, Desmond. And also, if anyone makes something from this workshop, you should definitely tag Momilove and also Desmond on Instagram so we can see your work. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Oh, I'll have to see what it looks